Hello there my fellow Holotable heroes and welcome to another Grand Arena video. Now in this one I just want to talk through my ideas of how I'm splitting my teams according to factions. Now especially for me personally, I've been moved now to Division 1 for this season, so I need more teams for offense and defense, so it's going to be very crucial if I am to succeed to very effectively split my teams to utilize their abilities the best that I can. Now, especially in Pre-Free, like it's very simple to follow the rules. Any teams, the way you split them is you start off first by a good leader, then you will need a damage dealer, and then finally either a tank or a healer just to a little bit support your team while you're doing the damage. So I'm just going through factions now just to give you some ideas how I'm thinking of splitting them. Obviously based on the feats or my opponents, I may tweak this slightly, or based on their performance after every week when we do have GAC history available. But for now this is kind of a starting point just to get some ideas going. Separatists, once you do have them all pretty much relicked up, they're very versatile factions, lots of good leaders. So I'm starting off obviously with General Grievous. Now with Grievous I don't like to put B1 and B2 in there, especially in 3v3, that team can get easily handled. So just better to use Grievous and just kind of, two maybe lower end droids with him, because Grievous will do what he does no matter what droids are next to him. So in this case I'm starting with Magna Guard and then also bringing in IG, because IG it's got a little bit nice here synergy with Grievous, because once you get Zeta on him, target locked enemies won't be able to recover health and protection, so it will kind of act as a healing immunity, which could really help snipe a banner or two away, because the enemies won't be able to recover health and protection. And then of course we got Count Dooku, where he kind of goes into stealth, hides Droideka and himself, so they're separatists, and then the enemy is forced to go after Nest. And also as a starting point, even if your Dooku isn't too fast, like all these three individual characters, they pose a threat. So it's not just the case you neutralize one, like you fracture Nest or you stun Nest, well you still have to worry about Dooku going into stealth, then Droideka doing what Droideka does, especially if you do have him relicked up. So it's a team that probably won't stop anybody, but can snipe a banner or two away for sure. Moving on, we've got Newt as well here, and that's where I like to put B1 and B2 with Newt together. Like especially Newt, if extortion starts spreading in 3-3, Newt will be quickly getting back-to-back turns, spreading more extortion, which will give more speed to B1. He can keep healing up, doing AoEs, sniping banners. Then obviously we've got B2 there with dispelling and AoEs. So definitely I like to actually use B1 and B2 with Newt rather than with Grievous. And then finally we got more here, Geos. Now I'm finally slowly getting around to relicking Geos, so I'll start making more use of them here in the upcoming Pre-Free season. We've got Poggle, he's got the leadership, remember, and I think he grants more offense as well to Separatist allies. So now majority of us will have a Relic 7 Django. Relic 7 Django, he can do some big hits, because with a Separatist in the leading slot, he will obviously start with his contract triggered already, which means damage immunity for 2 turns as well as extra offense. So he can do some big hit on somebody, and then Sanfag just to get a tank in there. His basic and dispel buffs as well, just to cause some trouble hopefully for the enemy. And finally the leftover Geos here, we got Geo Brute Alpha, Spy and Soldier. Not much else to say here. This team, with free Geos, they're still quite scary if you don't take the right tools against them. Alright, so moving on from the Separatists, let's have a quick look at First Order. Now Supreme Caloran here, he's a one-man band here in 3v3. There are hardly any teams that he can't solo in 3v3. So he's a team on his own. He doesn't need any help at all unless he's going against some of those galactic legends. And moving on here, do I like to split then the rest of the squads here? I like to put Hux here with Sith Trooper and First Order Stormtrooper. Now the reason why this works well, because First Order Stormtrooper can counterattack, because of Hux they can all counterattack, and then First Order Stormtrooper can call somebody for an assist. Then Sith Trooper, he's assisting anyways on any critical hits. And also, while Hux has advantage, the enemy won't be able to gain bonus turn meter against these guys. and they will all deal 50% more damage on basic attacks. So definitely this team, if you're not careful, can again snipe a banner or two quite easily away from you. Moving on here, we got 2 Carlos and First Order Officer. Now this team can be quite good here, while they do not have like some big attacker in here. I mean, it's flexible, you could put Executioner there depending on your needs. But the reason why I like to use First Order Officer in here, it's because then he can reduce cooldowns on his spinning shot, so then Color and Mask can pretty much keep stun locked the whole team after a few turns, because it's only 3v3, so you can keep these guys, everybody stunned on the enemy side, while Kylo just keep doing his AoE over and over again. And finally, kind of a leftover First Order squad in case you need it. Also got Phasma, Executioner, and one of the pilots. But obviously, this team, at least in my GP range, won't do a whole lot. So, you know, First Order Executioner and Officer are kind of interchangeable with the 2 Kylos, depending on who am I going up against. So that's First Order now. So let's look at the Sith faction here. We obviously got Darth Revan here with Bastila and Malak. Now, I know some people like to take Malak away and put maybe Sith Marauder on here or HK. You can go ahead and do that and then, you know, put Malak in another annoying Sith team. But overall, you know, these 3 together are very strong. If you take Malak out in 3-3, then Vader can still sort of counter Darth Revan. I was able to once take out Darth Revan in 3-3 last time without Malak in there. So if you really want, you know, to make sure that your opponent uses something strong on your Darth Revan squad, instead of just, you know, Jedi Knight Revan or CLS or something, you definitely want to have Malak in there to make this much harder to take down. Obviously, if you do, or somewhat like some people like to do, is actually keep Malak for offense. You know, Malak can solo a lot of teams in 3v3, so you could also split it that way if you wish. Moving on, we got Maul here. Now all these guys, again, probably won't get any holds, but it's very hard to get max banner versus them, because with Maul lead, they get a bonus turn meter to begin with. Sidious, he's very naturally fast anyway. He'll go unload his AoE, that applies exposed damage over times. Maul can unload his AoE as well. And then Sith Marauder, he's quite tanky, he can hit pretty hard. So definitely, you know, and that whole thing with evasion, this team can definitely be a little bit annoying to deal with if you don't have the right counter for it. Moving on, Sith Eternal Emperor, in most cases, you know, especially in 3v3, he's like Supreme Coloran, he can just solo many teams. But if you do go up against, you know, some tougher Galactic Legend squad, you can always put, you know, just a couple of pre-taunting tanks. So Sith Empire Trooper is good, and just, you know, any Sith in there, just to, you know, distract the enemy while Emperor is getting towards his ultimate. And finally, Traya. Now Traya, you know, you can put her on defense. She can be annoying in 3v3 to deal with, because for offense she doesn't have a whole lot of banner recovery, but it's so versatile. Can easily take out, you know, a lot of teams in 3v3, not for max banners though, so it just really depends on, you know, what your overall strategy is for attack. Alright, let's move on to the Rebels themselves. Obviously the staple CLS and 2 3POs teams that probably pretty much 90% of people put on defense. It's a very annoying team to deal with. Now, there are, you know, known counters for it, and people do know how to counter it, but still, you know, every now and then it will catch somebody off guard if they are not careful. Then you've got, you know, any type of Mon Mothma team, whatever you got with Rebel Fighters. I do have my K2 and Cassian now, so I'm, you know, keeping these guys in case I come across a Grievous team in 3v3. And then you've got Han and Chewbacca, and just insert any leader here really. You could go with Wedge because of that extra bonus turn meter gain. I like to use Old Ben actually as well sometimes with them because of his mind tricks. Plenty of flexibility here. Also somebody like Boba, he will give them extra critical damage, or even Greedo as well, he will give them extra damage and things like that. So this is a very good team. They can take care of many opponents. Okay, so let's move on to the Galactic Republic now. Lots of splitting teams here. Obviously you've got General Skywalker, and then, you know, 2 501st, well, whatever you put there. I do like to save actually Rex and 5s for another squad, and then Echo as well, because Echoes give them some extra assist, and he's got some synergy there with 5s as well. Echo. So I like to keep these 3 guys together, which then leaves me Ahsoka and ARC Trooper to go with General Skywalker. Now this Rex squad here, I wouldn't use on offense because they have no way of recovering banners. So this is more of a defensive team, although if your opponent does have a Malak left for offense, this will be probably an easy solo for your opponent, but hey, it's how it is. Malak can just, you know, solo so many teams. That's just how it is. Moving on, we've got Padme and Anakin. I think these two, whatever sort of Padme team you're putting together in Free Free, I think really Anakin should always be in there, just because of that bonus turn that Padme will get whenever Anakin gets a bonus turn. So, you know, separating these two in Free, I would not recommend. Whether you use it on offense or defense, Padme in Free on offense can do a lot of good things versus many teams, but similar like Traya, you have really no way to recover banners. So, you know, in most cases you'll be looking at 51, maybe 52 banners if you're lucky. And then moving on, we got another Galactic Republic squad here. So we got General Kenobi with his leadership. They gain extra defense, they gain extra health, and then Barry's unique obviously will keep everybody healing up whenever a critical hit. And while you're busy with trying to get around Kenobi's taunt, obviously if you do have Kiari-Mundi, this is now a full Galactic Republic Jedi squad, so they will get some nice bonuses from Kiari-Mundi. You know, he can do some big hits on the enemy as well. So this is how you could potentially be splitting your Galactic Republic. So let's move on to the Resistance now. So obviously Finn and 2 Resistance heroes, that's quite a popular team on defense, especially if you got a very fast Finn. This team, you know, could be threatening on defense, especially for like a back wall maybe, where your opponent doesn't have a whole lot left. However, Troopers, Han and Chewie, they easily take care of these guys. But still, you know, it's quite a good team nonetheless to put on defense, or you can even use it for offense, because there is a lot of, you know, Finn can recover health and protection on these guys. You know, they can still do some damage. And we got Rey, so similar like other Galactic Legends, Rey can solo a lot by herself in 3v3, but if she does need support going up against, you know, some of the Galactic Legend, just simply bringing in Holdo for the taunt, and Holdo can as well heal and dispel and things like that is useful. And then armor, you can put Beskar over on Rey, and then Rey pretty much becomes indestructible and can carry the rest of the battle for you. And then we got the other Rey, Jedi Training and Scavenger and BB-8. These guys can do a lot of damage. Obviously BB-8 and Jedi Training Rey, they got nice synergy there, and Scavenger, once relicked up, she can really hit really hard. And also if you do have Zeta on her, if she does not have any debuffs, she can apply daze that cannot be resisted, which is huge when going up against, you know, somebody like Duke or Nest that they like to counter attack a lot. Alright, and then finally, this is kind of like a Phasma level team if you really need another team just to slap maybe on defense. Poe and 2 veteran smugglers are not the worst team on defense, because if you take like Chewie out, then Han gets you know, 2 extra turns. If you take Han out, then Chewie gets extra turns. If you take again Poe out, they again gain extra turns. So either way, they might snipe a banner or 2 away from your enemy if they're not too careful, especially if your Poe is very fast. If you mod him for like, you know, 280, 290 speed, he goes first. Maybe if the enemy doesn't have fast characters, removes turn meter from them, then Han can unload his AoE, Chewbacca there can stun and things like that. So, you know, it's a fun team if you really need to stretch your roster. This is still a team that, you know, might snipe a banner or 2 once you put it on defense. For offense, I would not recommend probably this team. Alright, let's move on to Scoundrels. Obviously, Scoundrels there start off with Beskar Mandalorian, IG and Quill. This team is very good in 3v3, but obviously not my IG and Quill. So if you're like me that you didn't get around to getting these guys up, leveled up yet, you can put any sort of other Scoundrels here. L3 is good obviously because of her pre-taunt and cleansing and stuff like that. And then just Bo in there, because, you know, we had to relic her up for Master Kenobi. So she's relic, she's got an AoE. Hopefully she can cause some issues there. And then we got Bounty Hunters again. If you do have a lot of Bounty Hunters, you can easily create 2 or even 3 teams out of them. I personally don't. But probably this is the best 3v3 team, I think, here with Bosk, Mandalorian and Grief. Similar like IG and Quill, I don't have them yet. So instead I'm using their Dengar and Boba. Not a brilliant team, but, you know, they can still do some good work versus maybe, you know, gear 12 or low relic squads. Boba there, especially at relic 8 now. Many of us have him at relic 8 because of Executor. He can one-shot somebody. Alright, so probably we're coming up now what's the most versatile faction in the game, because they got 2 Galactic Legends, lots of other great characters in here. Now, unlike other Galactic Legends, Master Luke soloing is not the easiest thing to do, because remember, to do some any serious damage, you need to call somebody to assist. With his ability that you get from his lead, is it Inherited Teachings or something like that? So if he's there by himself, he's got nobody to call, so it's not really a whole lot of damage. But if you bring just somebody like Alia or Qui-Gon, obviously Master Luke will be taunting, so if you go up against enemies there that don't have AoEs, this could be easy 54 banners versus many team. You can keep calling Alia for assist, so she can stun, so you can pretty much keep the whole enemy team stun locked. And Quango is pretty good because he can dispel one of his specials, apply offense up, and then on other his special attack he can call somebody for assist as well. So it's a pretty versatile team here versus some of those mid-tier teams that you will be facing in Grand Arena. And we got Master Kenobi. Obviously you do want to have Commander Ahsoka with him, and then you just need Commander Ahsoka and Master Kenobi, they can solo a lot of teams anyways, but if you do need a tank, don't use anyone good. Just put Mace in there. We had to relic him up, let him just tank for you. At least in this case he's useful for something. Then moving on, we got Jedi Knight Revan. I like to use them with Yoda and Jolie here. Obviously Yoda doing the damage, Jolie can call for assist. We got Saber here with Revan, then Jolie has a revives if needed, so definitely a team that can do a lot of good work for you in 3v3. And then Jedi Knight Luke here, obviously his lead is very good as well in 3v3. You'll probably want to have somebody like Shakti or Hermit Yoda, but I like to use Hermit Yoda with Bastila down there, so I'm using Shakti. So she's very quick, she gets Heroes Arise going, which gives Jedi Will to everybody, Luke gets a turn, mass stun, and then I like to use Obi-Wan here for his mind tricks, removing turn meter, ability blocking everybody, offense down and things like that. So this team can very quickly take apart any sort of team. So they don't really get a chance to snipe much banners away from you. If they do, Shakti's got a heal and dispel as well, so that always comes in handy. And then the final Jedi team here, I like to use is Bastila, Hermit Yoda and Ezra. You start with loads of bonus protection here because of Bastila's lead, so going up against somebody like Hux or Newt or one of those teams, Dooku teams, or they like to snipe banners from you. You can pretty much keep topped up your bonus protection thanks to Hermit Yoda constantly healing, or obviously Ezra and Bastila are doing some nice damage thanks to Master's training from Yoda as well. Alright, so moving up to Nightsisters, you can probably really create kind of at best 2 teams from your Nightsisters. So you have kind of Talzin, Daka, Spirit. Obviously you do not have Zombie in here, so maybe if you're going for only one Nightsister squad, then instead of Spirit you can put Zombie in there. But if you're trying to, if you need more teams and you have to stretch your roster, I think splitting in this way makes most sense, just because with the Saj lead goes better with Zombie, because whenever Zombie will fall below 100% health, she'll gain 50% turn meter, so she'll be getting lots of turns, constantly getting the taunt back up, and then while Acolyte there is hiding in stealth. So again, you can catch some opponents off guard that maybe they forget about the whole Acolyte thing and they go in with a team that does not have AoEs. They take out Asajj, but then Acolyte is keep hiding in stealth, causing some issue potentially. And then the rest of the Nightsisters here, even without Zombie, Spirit will be very quick and get play going. Then both Daka and Spirit can stun, like especially Daka, her basic can stun 2 targets, so potentially Daka can stun 66% of the enemy squad, so you can get stun locked quite easily with these Nightsisters, while Relic Talzin, her AoE can do some big hits as well, so you can split them in this way, Nightsisters, if you really need to. Alright, so finally finishing up here with the Empire faction. Obviously got Palp and Vader. These 2 guys work very well together, just because Vader can do a Force Crush before he goes into Merciless, which allows him to get another Force Crush out, like especially versus Geos where you got 4 targets. This team works still really well. You can put in Watt in there, or a Thrawn, or any tanks or anything, or even Gideon if you need to go up against faster enemies and you want to remove their turn meter first. But Watt, obviously their weapon tech won't give Vader ability to ignore defense anymore like it used to, but it can prevent revives. So you're going up against Nightsisters or Mon Mothmas, at least then they won't be able to be revived. And then the other tech you can put there on Palpatine to make sure that Palpatine ends up with full protection, so you can get nice 54 banners hopefully out with this squad. And then here we go with kind of starting to splitting troopers here. So got Veer, Stark and Piet as the core group. These guys can take out a lot of squads, bounty hunters, Nightsisters, Mon Mothma, resistance squads. So, you know, very versatile team here in 3v3. And then the remaining kind of thing, I like to use Throne and Gideon together. I do have Dark Trooper now as well. Before I was using Wampa actually in here. This team is pretty good. You got lots of control here. Gideon obviously controlling the situation, beginning, then Throne, swapping Terminator, fracturing, recovering protection, and then you just need a damage dealer like Wampa or Dark Trooper. And you know, you can do some good work against these guys. Like if you use Throne maybe elsewhere, maybe with Vader there, then you could throw in somebody like Death Trooper maybe in here and you run Gideon lead. Alright guys, that's all for today. Hopefully it was useful, just running through all the factions here I have in my roster, how I'm thinking of splitting them either for offense or defense. So hope you find it useful. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, have fun, enjoy your life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.